Well, things are streaming. That's good. Yeah. Alright. Let's get started. Finally, that took a lot of setup. Took an hour setup. But things are working. Things are titled, things are streaming, things are being recorded in a location that I did not specify. Gosh darn, I need to go find that file later. I also didn't set up the audio system correctly fully. But hey, we're starting. We will go through all these mistakes with time. Alright, first thing now that is going to happen is state diagram. We want to make a state diagram for a fighting game. Let's try to figure out what we need first. I wrote a few things down on my phone to help get started. I guess we'll just be doing this for maybe an hour or two. Thinking out loud. I don't know if that's a great idea, but it is something that my brain will be doing. Okay, let's start with removing most of this. Please don't be lagging. Okay. No, I just don't know how to add a block apparently. Sticking out diagram shapes. Perfect. Okay. Let's try to figure out our shapes. Flow chart shapes. Process, decision, terminator, predefined process, document, documents. I could probably not read all of these out loud. Okay, let's just start with not exactly the states, but sure. Okay, we'll just make this a legend then, part of the legend. Okay. Rectangles. State. Okay. Neutral. Neutral. Why is words hard to spell? Control. Yeah, the part doesn't even fix it either. That's just wonderful. Alright. There is some lag, which is a little upsetting. How much of my CPU is being used? 8%. That's just why. Why does it say so? Maybe that's just OBS. Alright. Neutral states. This should include any state that just you can move in freely. You can move. Actually, this can be put a hexagon and just call it like title. Section. Sections. So these will be control state. Okay. Let's change the color because I don't want to be working in basic colors. Decent blue. That's the outline. Gosh darn it. So, thank you. Outline will go back to black. Okay. Standing slash walking. This should be the same. Many fighting games have this as pretty much the same. I'll also put dashing, and then also grounded. Just grounded. Okay. Now there's a separate state for crouching a lot of the time. Because when you're crouching, your hitbox is smaller, you're not allowed to move in some games. They allow you to do specific inputs. Some characters have stances, which are just things that they can do. But those seem like two of the main states. What do I mean by a neutral state? What I mean by a neutral state is a state in which the player has freedom of any action. Control Z, please. 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 I hate this. States of any action. Okay, so what else is there? So you've got standing, you've got crouching, you've got walking, you're dashing. If we have any of those should be pretty much the same. So we'll just put them next to each other. What would be another neutral state? Airborne states. Airborne states exist. And they have similar functionality. Airborne. Okay. When somebody is airborne, they often have a different transition state, but often the same ability to do whatever they can within the limitations of whatever their airborne abilities are for the characters. Okay, then, is that all the neutral states? In blocking, you can't really act because there's block stun, so that's gonna have to go under something else. Let's call it stuns, or on hit. Sensitivity is random. So let's go with attack states first because attacks are an important part of the game. States. If we look at Street Fighter and its frame data, it's got a bunch of different things. I'm gonna put these in red, I think, because these are offensive. Different red, that is too dark. is the clicking of my keyboard and laptop. It will forever be within streams until I get a proper setup, which is never, probably never gonna happen, for all I know. But yeah, so if we look at Street Fighter, it has quite a few states for when you're attacking. Attack states. When attacking. So there's the start up, the active, what did I do? So, no, no, we don't want lines yet. The active, the recovery. I think we'll have another legend thing for considering, and I'll put that in a different shape. Considering, but not guaranteed. I hate that the autocorrect doesn't work. We'll just leave things misspelled. And then pill shape. That to be more consistent. Alright. So there is armored. Don't know how to spell the word, of course. Armored. Please, 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 please just let me fix the word. Okay. We have armored states. Street Fighter also has projectile invulnerable and fully invulnerable states. Projectile invulnerable and then fully invulnerable. If they're spelled differently, that's fine. I don't. This is my game. It's not your game. At least we hope to be. Okay. States when attack. Cool. Grabs kind of fall under an attack. The only difference is the hitbox acts differently, so it would be a different hitbox. That would. I don't think that would go under states. That would be more like hitbox types. So I guess we might as well have one somewhere. So just off to the side. Hitbox box state. In Fatal Fury, the grab animation is green, so we're going to be using that. And I get drive rush grabbed all the time in Street Fighter, so that's enough justification for it being green. Is it? No, this just that just implies grabs. Oh well. Um, Stripe. Projectile. And then there's the super versions of each of them, which I will make a long version. Super. That's stop it. Hello. You have joined the you have joined the Discord chat. How are you? I'm doing good. You? Normal? Ah, yes. It's more so just like thinking on the flowchart of what is needed for a video game, or at least for a fighting game. So I just want to make sure I have like clear path before I start coding the entire state machine. Maybe discussing with someone might help with putting everything together and making sure I'm not missing too much. The live chat? What do you mean? I don't understand what you're saying. Oh, okay. Let me try then. I just want to have everything ready for a state machine so I can get that just prepared and not try to figure out what everything is for the game. I put it up again. I don't know if you can see it now. Just a flowchart tool. Yeah, and I'm gonna focus mostly on states, on just because those are very important, and knowing what state the player is in is gonna define whether or not they can be hit or not. So that's a bit more of a thing about the hitboxes. I'll come back to that later at some point. Right now, it's just mainly the states. Currently, hello, hello. Is that the guy? It is the guy. It is Bitlik. Trying to make a state machine without coding a single thing first by having like something to define it. Yeah. Yeah. So right now, there's not a ton of things. It's just for a fighting game. We're trying. Currently, neutral states, attacks. Um, the dang thing is a bit inconsistent. And I'm also simultaneously recording everything, minus the Discord chat. So rectangles are just like the things that I have for sure. Hill shapes are considering, and then the hexagons are just to keep things in separate sections. Have you had experience playing fighting games at all? Similar to Street Fighter, Fatal Fury, Tekken, even. No, plat those those are fighting games in a sense as well, but they are platform fighters, which is slightly different. Mhm. 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 Well, a game is a game. Yeah. So, what else? What other things happen when someone attacks? Or things that happen to the player when they attack? They can start their attack, active frames. Clanking. Some games do, some don't. Um, that's a good consideration. I think how Street Fighter does getting hit at the same time is they both get hit, but the frame data is the same essentially, and they both get the same hit state, which is counter hit, which is essentially they hit each other at the same frame, and one isn't like hitting right after another, which would be a punish. So clanking, yeah, yeah, that's how Street Fighter kind of does it, but each attack does their own like after state. So there's that. Develop the next Balatro or something with your roguelite, or enter the Gungeon. Mhm. I'm over here trying to learn how to make a video game at the same time as trying to make the video game. Uh, would there be anything else that's different with attacks? I don't know. Oh, air invincible. That's another thing. Um, that's a common one. Otherwise, the Shoryukens wouldn't work. Air. I'm gonna put grounded as well, and this as like a second option with a splash because those are important. Mhm. I'm just confused with that entire interaction. Now, in the air, I don't see very many differences from just being on the ground, other than the type of knockdown they would get or stun they would get. Oh yeah, stun states and block states. Those are pretty important. What do you mean by crouch canceling? Uh, no, I don't think so. That would make it inconsistent for specific combo routes. Um, there are like specific states in Street Fighter where if you get hit after you whiff the attack but are in recovery, you get the opponent gets extra frames of advantage on hit. But that's not affected by crouching specifically. Fighting game states are confusing. What color should these be? I mean, oh wait, I just got on hit states. I should just call these on hit states and group them together. Makes more sense. What color should on hit states be? Uh, Violet. It's close to violent. Either something's buggy or I just don't understand this program. Okay. Would it be a bad idea to have a thing that's like transition states on this? So when I hit somebody, depending on the type of hit, it could either launch them or knock them down on the ground or give another random state of some kind. And I don't know if that needs like a transition state at all, or if that just doesn't make sense. I think Tekken's the only one I know of that has a get up attack, at least from classical fighters. Yeah, they don't. Mhm. I'm gonna start listing all the states I know from uh, Street Fighter. Gosh darn it, shortcuts that exist that I don't understand. The more I think about it, the less I understand what my computer does, and the less I understand what my operating system is. No, I'm on Linux. Why? God, five or six characters. Yeah, that's insane. Yeah. Mm. Well, Steam has the Steam Deck existing, and that's run on Linux, and just add the compatibility. No? Here's the thing. They have a League of Legends fighting game that's coming out called XKO. It's gonna be free, so you could try it if you want to. Uh, yeah, no, I would probably be playing it on my console. That's one way to do it. Yeah. I don't actually understand how Street Fighter's anti-cheat currently is working because I don't know if there is much or if it's just like really good. I haven't noticed it. But it's also like you're cheating out on a person individually, and most of the competitions were like actual physical events, so cheating didn't matter as much. Mhm. Not a ton of cheaters, but there are some. It's also kind of hard to cheat in some fighting games. Mhm. Yeah, so there is just never getting grabbed is one thing. In Street Fighter, they have this mechanic called Drive Impact, where it's a two-hit armored attack that essentially gives you very strong punishes on pretty much anything that has enough end lag or is just slow enough. And some people just like detect if somebody presses the wrong button to automatically do that thing. It's it definitely does help when there's a simple button that automatically does it for you, but otherwise, yeah, it would be hard to cheat in a lot of other games. Yeah. Also, I don't know how they make the AI as well, because that's a completely confusing thing. Um, well, Slump. That's another state that happens in Street Fighter. Why did it have to zoom so much? From 400%. Why? That's why? Why? It's just colors. What have you done from your list of things that need to be done? That's a. Mm, that's an option. Right. I'm sick and tired of the thing being late. I'm gonna check my actual system monitor. Everything's slow because I'm recording and streaming and also streaming on Discord. It's a thing. Memory is at 50%. CPUs 1 through 8 are like fluctuating between, but averaging around like 50 top. The network is just flat 1,000 kilobytes per second or something. Also, disk is not really doing anything, which makes sense. Maybe I need a better program. What? I, I don't know if that's the problem or if it's just my browser is being annoyed or something. I don't have a lot happening. Epic. Yes, this is how we start streaming by just doing stuff. Alrighty, so these are like the main important. This seems like the main states for what a player might have. Should I have separate state machines for different things? Like one for the player, one for projectiles, one for something else, maybe? Oh, does state machines not allow multiple of the states for one object? Or, okay, two people were talking about this. Hmm. I think the player makes sense to be one state machine. I don't know if it needs a projectile to have a different state machine. And then, hmm, maybe a state machine is not the best solution. Or maybe a modified state machine might be. I don't know. I barely know what a state machine is. That all I know is what a state diagram is. Hmm. How do I connect one thing to another thing? How does the arrows work in this thing? Connection lines. Okay. So all of these are just interchangeable. So you can't be airborne while crouching. You can't be crouching and standing. You can't be walking and crouching, at least in some games. Standing, walking, dashing, and grounded I have as the same thing. When you're in the startup, then the active frames, then the recovery frames. And then definitely everything in the definitely everything in the bubbles for the attacking state seems like it would be an additional state on top of it, or additional parameter of the state. Mm. I think that would just yeah. So usually whenever a player recovers, depending on the type of game, if they have like an airborne recovery state, I probably might not code that. That might be very complicated. Then again, it might be like a frame timer or something. But on the ground, usually they have to get back on the ground, then they can get back up, which has its own invincible animation, uh, and then they can act again. And that's just a transition state of like getting up, which might as well add. Main important things are juggling, knockdowns, block stun. It would be crazy if the game just there wasn't block stun. Drawing a microwave? They don't always have. Some of them have buttons that you press and then it opens the door. Sure. Um, I guess we can start putting more lines at this point. Let's move things in a different order. Transition states, let's put them down at the bottom. Transition states. Okay, let's start drawing arrows. This is gonna get confusing real fast. Jump startup gets you into an airborne state. In the airborne state, you can attack. Complete. Can I not draw an arrow from somewhere that already has an arrow? No? Why are you being weird? Being called by a number I don't recognize.
Now,
The number the number just decided to call and disappear. Okay, so you can go from crouching that I think there's enough time to just instantly go from crouching to jumping in some games, so I'll just let it happen. Okay. Airborne has attack states. These have attack states. I don't like these arrows being like this. Please. I already have one for that. No. I probably shouldn't have a transition from crouching to dashing. Should have them transition to standing, which should take 0 frames. Grab animation would be on a hit of some kind. It wouldn't be active frame, it would be on hit. So just delete that line. I'm gonna move the other states around so I just don't have them in the way. So an active frame would either go to block stun if a player collides with it. Might need a decision block here, at least. It makes sense. Why do I feel like no one's talking because something's off? Or is it just that everybody's quiet? So, add background shapes, diamond for decision. This. If it change the color to white, black, and change the text to white, that would work. And I'll leave rejoin the Discord chat. Am I talking? Yes, it is. Are you guys just quiet? Okay. Yeah, it felt a little weird being. You guys were just perfectly silent, not even thinking out loud at all. Hmm. Cancelable state. What would a cancelable state allow for? Going into any other attack state? Drawing arrows. I understand how diagrams work. I don't understand how the other stuff works. It's a little different. Mhm. Now, the questionable part is if the player is hit. There are two options. I should probably have. It's gonna be a state easily. It's just it might be a simple check for area. Mhm. Um, if that's the case, it's probably gonna be just a Boolean for like airborne, because that would be just really simple. Um, it doesn't seem like it would cause too many problems if they're airborne or not. Yeah. Okay, so if there's two people who can be hit, there, this is the complicated part when multiple people are attacking. Okay, let's just assume one person hits and delete the other block. So if they're hit on startup or the active frames, because that can happen, or the recovery, then they'll either go to one of the states. If I want to simplify the game, I could make hit, stun, and the same for both crouching and standing. More arrows. Okay. Juggle would go down into knockdown. That's understandable. It's understandable. I might close this at some point soon as well. Don't want to spend several hours a day all at once. Okay. So him leaving or someone joining? Yeah, okay. I was confused on if someone was joining or not, so I just checked. Okay. Now I should offset the blocks. Hello, welcome back. Mhm. 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 Does blocking need to be a separate state? Um, in Smash Bros. Well, not exactly. In Street Fighter, if you hold back, you're blocking technically, and there's no separate animation. That's block stun. So I wouldn't say that's the same as blocking, because blocking means you are able to stop an attack that's coming at you. But block stun is what happens afterwards. There's a block stun state. It's just, do I need blocking as a separate state, or is it check if somebody's holding the input? Some games allow it. So it would probably be more like a Boolean if they're blocking or not. Okay. And then the attacks would have to determine on whether or not the block would actually work or not, because it has to be both. They have to attack high and the they have to be blocking high if they want to have it go into block stun. If they're attacking low and they block high, then it goes into hit stun. So those would be multiple Boolean checks in the same thing. Yeah, there's gonna be so many Booleans that it's gonna just become a mess. Don't worry about it yet. I haven't gotten to the coding part. Yeah, that makes sense. Like bitwise comparators or what? Bitwise comparisons or bitwise notation where everything's defined by bits. Hmm. Similar to how the layers do it, right? Okay. Okay. Yep. Yeah. That would be a good like tiny optimization that probably wouldn't be worth much. Yeah. Is there a way to do something similar but with like a 3D array? Or maybe a two, or maybe even just a 2D one because numpad notation. I'm thinking in numpad notation right now for inputs, for directional inputs. No, just think like if I wanted a sequence of numbers and then I need to check the order that it is correct for that sequence and then save the specific sequence compared to another sequence that I have saved already, if it's valid or not, or within reason. No, if I have like error checking, then that's probably not the best way. Because inputs are messy. Inputs are just very messy. My current brain thinks that if I'm doing inputs, every single frame should have an array that is just the inputs and then like kill everything past, I don't know, frame 100 or something. Current thought process on this. Hmm. Yeah. If you just say weird things, maybe it becomes more entertaining. If you're not normal as a regular person, maybe that helps too. Are you sure? There's no defined regular person. This just looks like a spider web at this point already. It's perfect. Just, just a spider web. Somehow it feels like the attacking states are the most simple for like the main states. Somehow. That and also like being stunned. They have stuns have to allowed to be looped back into a stun as well. Yeah, race stands. I think what? I see. Knocked down into getting up. Standing. Okay. Hmm. Williams. Sometimes I wish things could be simple, just as simple as booleans, but I don't think this is going to be. Anyways, um, crouching, standing, and jump being in the air are all three separate states, but it feels like I wish they were binary. If they were all binary. Why aren't computers made in base 3? How long have I been recording? An hour and 17 minutes. I don't. We'll stick around for another 3. Okay. Okay. Now I just need to figure out what booleans are going to be separate. Stun's probably going to be one. Okay. Well, I guess this is one diagram done. I might need another 5 or so to help me figure out how to make the game. Diagram development. That's what this is. At least for the first week. Yeah, I mean, fighting game just seems like there's so much that needs to be considered in an order that a state diagram seems like it needs to exist. There's a lot of things in a fighting game. Like they're very complicated, surprisingly, even though they sometimes feel simple to play. Like, it's how's it? Okay, so state diagram. What's the next step? At some point, I need a list of debug tools as well to just start developing them. Now, is that a specific thing in his game? Teleporting? That's neat. Is my brain done? Let me check my notes that I have on the slide. See if there's anything to help with that first before I disappear. Yes, I need to make things modular, as modular as I can, hopefully, because I'm gonna need to do some examples on your composition and your state machine videos at some point as well. S- I don't understand signals. I don't know when to use them when I could just use a function. When I don't care what's listening for it. Okay, so if it's directly interacting, use a function. If it's not directly interacting, use a signal. That's at least how my brain would understand it, because when I was trying to make my platformer, almost everything interacted with something else, at least. The spring interacted with the player, and that detected if the player was there, so I just used a function there. Mm. Okay, so the button. Mhm. Okay. Um, how how does that work when it comes to a button and multiple things to interact with, and the button wants to have separate buttons? Would they use the same signal name? So if I have three buttons and one button activates a door, one activates a projectile, and one activates, I don't know, some other random thing, would they be named different things in the signal? Okay. Hmm. Okay. So we're Mhm. Okay. Okay. So when we get to the Metroidvania part of this fighting game, we'll see. Yeah. It's it's like the connections of wires. Is it, and events I'm guessing are the same as signals, or pretty much the same? Okay. Okay. But is it really that bad of an analogy? Yeah. I'm just thinking of like a connected wire, just like an invisible wire. Okay. Yeah. Definitely, I think live help is going to be very useful. So I will be doing this and filling my laptop with gigabytes of video data that I will eventually deal with. I mean,